It would seem as though.
Hi, welcome to another week of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
Mostly, I'm Vesta.
I'm Annika.
And we have a special guest today. Woo! Special guest who most people around here know as Vivica, but she does have a real name, a boy name, Jess. I know.
Lame.
So what you'll hear going back and forth is we will most likely call him her and refer to her as Vivica or Viv or Jess or whatever. Who knows? But welcome.
Thank you. I
So
feel
glad
welcome.
you're here.
Yeah.
And I'm non-binary, so I accept all pronouns anyways.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned recently, because the whole binary thing, I'm still learning so much stuff because I'm old.
So am I, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's a
what I
lot.
learned is when somebody says my pronouns are she, they, that she is the preference and they is fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah.
I want people
learning.
to start going by it's because I think that's horrible and I love it. It's. Thank you so much.
Mine are she, her majesty.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Your Royal
I
Highness.
like the third one.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, you gotta have a little something, something. So, Vivica is a past Empress of Portland, like myself, and a performer who's on a very lengthy hiatus.
Oh, so lengthy.
I know. Could be
Vivica-
years, could be forever.
Look, the character of Vivica's traveling. She's busy. She's spending her wealth right now.
Like, her booking fee is up there.
Yeah, so good luck, Portland. You
It
know?
is like SoCal level.
So I'm going to ask
Like
you this
West
question then.
Hollywood.
I know that you're joking, but if someone said, I need you to do a show and I'm going to pay you an obscene amount of money, would she come out of retirement?
Yes. If
What-
the amount was obscene,
what would it
like
have to-
literally obscene,
What would the amount need to be?
like it would depend on what the actual like gig.
What if they
would
said,
be.
I want you to do an experience like she did, but it's going to be you for 2 hours straight doing all of that talking and singing?
So pretty much like a rewind back to the Embers days.
Yeah,
Yes, but with no guests.
Oh, and with no guests. I mean, I've done shows like that before where I am.
but
seated.
now you're older and more mature.
Honestly, the gig fee would have to be like up there, like in
$5,000 higher.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, $5,000.
I mean,
bitch. You want to book Vivica? $5,000.
You've heard it here.
Well, realistically, I've gotten rid of like 90% of my drag stuff
Okay.
anyways. So like, I would need to like restock on 2
You
hours
would just be wearing
worth.
what you're wearing currently.
Right?
Painted.
No, no
Love.
costume
No.
change, no wigs, no hurls.
Listen, you put all those in your rider. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this show, but here's what I'm going to do.
You're going to pay me $5,000.
You get me with this out. I don't do costume changes, and I don't do meet and greets, and
No, whatever.
I don't do the buck and twirls and the kicks and splats and the
splat. I love that.
the
Shablams.
shazams, pizzams. Well,
slam slams.
they went by a different name back in the old days, but that's problematic now, I guess.
So, the old days. When did you start performing?
Oh, gosh. Around the summer of 05 or 06.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you've been doing it that long. So,
Yeah.
that's
Well, it was back when I was
17
still
years?
living in Kelso, Washington.
But 05
Wait a
and
minute.
18.
You got in drag in Kelso, Washington?
Yeah.
And you survived.
So, yeah.
That's
Crazy.
Ma'am. Miss Ma'am.
I got lucky or
Yeah?
stupid, one of the
Girl.
two.
Both.
But both. Stupid lucky. But no, I started doing drag when I was living in Kelso.
Okay.
And I would come down on the weekends. Every weekend for 2 years straight, I'd go to the Kitty Club, the Escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
So
my
you were
friends.
underage at the time.
I was under 21
Okay.
at the time. I started doing drag probably when I was like 19 or 20. So
Okay.
05, 06 sounds appropriate. But
and I'm assuming, because I've seen those early pictures, you were painting your own mug.
oh my gosh, okay, so not many people know this. I was painting my own mug back then. Not many people know this, but when I first started doing drag, I was working at Goodwill.
Okay.
I was a donations attendant. And someone had came by and dropped off. Oh, Annika's gonna like cringe. Someone had donated a crap ton of this old makeup that I believe belonged to like their dead grandmother or something,
God.
or their dead mother. And when I received this, like it was our policy not to use it. We would just toss it out.
Oh,
because
yeah, of course.
you can't resell makeup.
Right.
It's not sanitary. But when I looked at it and I knew, oh my gosh, I have this dream of doing drag, but I don't know where to start. I can't go into a cosmetic store or a drugstore and like buy, foundation or anything else, in this small hinky-dinky redneck town. I saw,
of course.
Like, all this stuff was in, like, this fish tackle box, and I thought to myself, this is a treasure trove. So I ended up taking it. And that was my first, makeup.
Okay. And you said you were, 19?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was some dead old lady's makeup.
Who cares?
Yes, it's,
as long as you weren't using, her old mascara.
Let me tell you.
We're good.
Yes,
I don't think so.
It's
I don't
cringy,
remember,
bitch, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Being a gutter queen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was such a gutter queen.
Yeah, well, you were a baby.
I knew nothing about how to,
okay.
even apply anything. I didn't know what blending was or contour.
Mm-hmm. Who does when you start?
Yeah.
When I first started, the first 2 times I did drag, gorgeous. So gorgeous, I can't even stand how gorgeous I was. But then I had to paint my own mug.
Oh. See, I was the opposite.
Girl, when I painted my own mug, it was like, ooh, the eyeliner was out to my ears, and it was bad.
Girl, she was a mud fan.
Yes, girl, it was bad. Thankfully, I had a pretty base to start with, but it was like, ooh, that's a pretty house with a bad paint job.
Yeah, girl.
But no, so I get it, and I used to. So y'all are too young to even remember this.
Oh, thank you.
But there used to be this thing where you could get sign up for. Do you remember Columbia House where you said it was a thing like that, but for makeup?
Ew.
You'd sign up and it'd be like, get your first kit for $1, and then cancel anytime. Blah blah blah. Well, so I would do it and get some little, little. Well, because palettes weren't even really a thing, but it would be just a little tray of eyeshadows or something.
Right.
And so I'd be like, well, this time I got. Green and pink and whatever. I was like, we'll make it work.
All right.
Because I was broke. And so I'm all, bitch gotta do what a bitch gotta do. And so, I get it. If somebody had dropped off the whole thing of makeup, I would have been all, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide this in my harem pants and pull them out later.
I definitely did that.
Yeah.
I mopped up that old, fish tackle of makeup.
Well, and who cares? You were going to throw it away anyway.
Yeah. It was mainly blushes and eyeshadows.
Perfect.
Well, and it had brushes from from whoever
the
it was
late
that had
Stone
passed.
Age.
Well, it's funny you say that it was somebody's dead grandma because just recently my husband brought home makeup that somebody had brought to his work.
From their dead grandma?
Well, their grandmother had passed, but they had all of this makeup that was unused.
Oh.
And they were like, we want to donate this so you can use it on, the other people that come in. Well,
nice.
Makeup is real specific, what you can and cannot use. But because
on the dead.
But because it was opened.
On the nappy.
They were like, we can't use this. And so he brought it home and said, do y'all want any of this? It's like, sure, why not?
Love it.
I took a couple palettes.
Yeah. I got...
Parker took a palette.
Yeah.
Everyone took a palette.
And you get a palette. And you get a palette.
It was very Oprah in here with palettes. I wish it was money. Could they just bring money and say, we can't use this, and then bring it home to the family?
That would be so much better.
I can't use this pile of money. Here you go. That would be
too
tragic.
wealthy.
Do they sell specific makeup for
more like spray paint
for the dead? Really?
No.
So the death becomes her stuff is real.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, right? They have holes in their stomach.
No, but they do because there's the difference between foundation for us and foundation for the dead is their skin is like ice and it's hard, and so normal foundation won't adhere to it.
Yeah, and I'm guessing their pores are so tight.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would
closed
bet.
Up. Well, some people like to put foundation on and let it warm up on the skin. So how do you on the dead person? You're all,
so how do you warm up a dead person's
Oh my god,
skin?
I don't
breathe on that.
Breathe on it.
I mean,
everyone, we need you to breathe on this bitch's face.
Everybody, let's come have a combo
because
on this dead bitch.
Because you can't put them under a heat lamp. Because you don't want them rotting.
Oh my god!
Or cooking.
Or cooking.
Oh my god!
Well, I had
who's making bacon?
I had one of because I occasionally do hair on the dead, and I had someone.
I did not know that.
And
I love you so much more,
girl. This is the Addams Family. If you did not know,
this is some Whoopi Goldberg shit. She did their makeup back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Well, so they called me one day and said, Mrs. Jones needs a perm, and I go, no. I have said yes to everything else, but no, I'm not perming a dead lady. Why the fuck would you perm a dead lady? I'm going to curl her hair. She ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's going to stay curled.
You're going to curl it and shellac the fuck out of it. And she's laying down. What she got to do? You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah. And then all you have to do is then lift her from the table into the casket. Her hair's not getting
done. It's not like you gotta like back comb it or tease it on the backside anyway.
Yeah, the back is just gonna stay flat.
Just the sides and the
That's
the
when
top.
you break out that curling iron that's like the size of your pinky, curl the shit up out of it, and then pick it out and spray it down.
What a stunning look!
I know.
Stunning.
Well, she was old. It was the old perm and go look.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
like. When I go, I want you to do my hair.
All right.
Start growing it out, bitch.
Tight.
Little...
I want to be your first dead perm.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, that was the other thing is you can't... And I was like, you can't perm a dead person because you need heat. Mm-hmm. You have to have body heat to activate.
And what are you going to do? Stand there with like... what is it? Like the hair dryer over? Watch your face get hotter and warmer.
Watch your old... embalmed face melt.
Where it's like no thanks. It's just meat left out in the sun for too long.
Hey, I'm on keto right now. Jerky is really keto friendly.
Oh my god! So
if it turns into jerky, you just eat them? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, here's the thing. If we were on an island, like a stranded, deserted island, I am not opposed to cannibalism to survive.
Oh.
Like, I don't believe in killing one of my friends or family members that I'm stuck on this island with.
I feel there's a problem because you a skinny bitch, there's nothing coming off you, so you're going to eat me first.
Yeah, but that also means that because Annika's a skinny bitch, she would die soon.
I would die first.
Oh, that is true.
She would die first. I can make some hella good jerky.
Wow.
I feel disrespected. Just really sad right now. Well, you know, I don't embalm me anyway. So yeah, if I die, go ahead, eat my body, bitch. Eat it.
There you go. Eat it. But only if we're on an island.
Oh.
Okay.
Just any island.
The fact that she's terrified of water, you're probably not going to get her to an island.
I've been to an actual island one time and said, you know what, this isn't for me. You know what, we're surrounded by water. I hate it here.
I'm going to say, other than Victoria, the only other island I've ever been to is Ketchikan in Alaska.
Okay.
And I don't think technically it is they call it an island. Because I think there is a small
land bridge
of land, But
no, girl. And I feel like if I was an island in like a lake, that's different. But being in an island in the ocean, like at Catalina, so one side you can see the United States mainland, on the other side you see literally fucking nothing. Oh my god. And I hated every minute of it. I said, we're just going to get washed away. This island's just going to move out into the middle of nowhere. Like, because that's how islands work.
Obviously. Right, they just float away.
Yeah, like, islands are not attached to, the actual
They just float.
They're just
and they're just, like, buoyed down, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or the island is just the back of a really big sea monster. That's my biggest fear, to be honest.
Well, I mean, considering your history with mythology.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a monster.
I know that a lot of that indigenous people felt that, you know, that islands were, the back of a sea monster.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So, no thanks.
So, I know you said you were in Kelso. Are you from Kelso originally?
Oh, gosh, no. I'm originally from, bleep this out, Aberdeen, Washington.
Okay.
That's where I was born.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
Where's Aberdeen?
It's like in the Grace Harbor area. Like towards Ocean Shores.
Okay.
So if you're into crabbing or clam digging, you would love it there. Or if you're into like a lot of drugs.
Ooh, so, drugs!
Here's the thing about Aberdeen.
Okay.
Like, I was taught this by my grandmother, also, who at the time lived in Aberdeen. So I was taught this since I was a child. Aberdeen is accumulated of 3 types of people: the gays, the druggies, and the gay druggies.
Snap.
And I ended up being just one of the gays, non.
But there's a gay pop. Is it a small town?
It's just super, super small town. Like, if you farted, I would hear about it.
Girl, but there are queer people there? Town. I can't believe
that. There are some queer people there, oddly enough.
Well, enough to make it one of the third of the population.
According to my grandmother. Yes.
Oh, Grandma. Love her. Thanks, Grandma.
Such a hippie.
So, Abuela, can you point out these gay people? Where can I find them?
Right?
Mm-hmm. Do we have a little community happening?
They have one Dutch Bros. One.
That's tragic. Yeah. Fuck Dutch Brothers.
No, I love Dutch Brothers.
They're just problematic.
Well, to an extent, isn't everyone?
Yeah, but they were openly problematic. They were trying to they were trying to profit off gambling on indigenous reservations. So that's illegal. And the state of Oregon said, yeah, go ahead. And then they said, oh, there's backlash. Just kidding. Don't do it. You can't do it.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, down in like K Falls. But who fucking goes there? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I mean,
true.
still don't profit off something that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah,
so
also true.
That's so un-American to profit off things that don't belong to you.
Right.
What?
Who does that?
Right? Oh my God.
And as also an indigenous person, I feel bad that I didn't know about this.
That's okay.
But as a half Hispanic person as well, I would still buy Dutch
Colonize.
Bros.
You're like, I conquered you.
Yeah. Well, the irony of it is I'm actually half Aztec Hispanic.
Yeah.
And I'm half indigenous American. So both sides of my lineage.
Words.
These white
Words
people.
are
White people words.
Of my lineage. Both sides of my lineage didn't try to conquer nobody or
Love
take
that.
nothing from nobody.
I love that.
I am at peace.
Yeah, honey. None of that European nonsense. Bitch.
I don't have none of that European German following with me.
Colonizing sons of bitches.
Well, as you can tell by the fact that, we're pasty white, we do have problematic backgrounds.
I don't believe in those people. I don't know. I don't accept that. Yes, it's true, but fuck those people.
For the longest time, I honestly thought you were part Hispanic.
I get that. I've especially when I was younger and I was tan all the time. People often just said, "Are you mixed?" And I'm like, if you mean confused,
yes. My
Absolutely.
feelings very common.
right. But Maria tells the story of when she first saw me performing. She thought I was black. Because I was brown, very brown. But also, I just, apparently, according to folks in the know, say I perform more like a black girl than like a white girl.
You really do.
And so I took that as the
That's a
hugest compliment.
compliment.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge compliment.
Yeah.
And I was talking
Like, you see the
to...
black queens perform here on the left, and then you see the white queens perform here on the right.
And they're all
All right, listen,
doing their
here's my problem.
doing their
Yeah.
Britneys and their
Just all
cachets.
But it doesn't matter what they're doing because they're smiling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're doing And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going, which is the most tragic song, and you're smiling...
and you're grinning.
Get off the stage.
Like,
You're
get
doing
the
it
hell
wrong.
out of here.
Yes. Yes.
You should probably go.
That was my thing. It's like, from the get-go, I was like, you have to know what the lyrics mean that you are lip-syncing to. Because you're already not singing it, so at least look like you mean it.
Yeah.
So you have to look like you understand it.
Yeah.
So if you're doing, some tragic song and you're just like smiling and grinning and doing backflips, I don't want to see it.
It's
True.
But I also don't want to see you performing if you don't know every single last word,
No.
every breath.
Every breath. Yeah.
I want to see you breathe.
I'm like that, too.
Yeah, because otherwise.
Well-
now I know when I first met you, I want to say it was at the Pride pageant.
Which
think.
one?
Oh, I don't know, because it was a long time ago.
100 years ago.
Because then I saw you out of drag, and I was like, oh. Because I remember saying this to you, I said, "Oh, you're not white." Because I said, "You paint like a white girl." You're like, "I do not."
Right. I was so heartbroken because I'd known you already for years from like all of the queens at the Embers.
Right.
I'm one of those rare queers who takes in stuff that they learn from the olders, from the more
elders.
seasoned, the elders, the wisers, whatever fucking word you want to use for the older
Old
generation.
bitches.
Wiser.
Like,
Ancient
I heard
hoes.
about the Patio Doras and the Chastity Frustrations and the Lady Elaine Peacocks and all of these other people within the Portland community, even the ones that were already passed. I'd heard so many stories about them from the Embers Queens, which is where I first got my real start. But I'd heard about you for years and hadn't met you for years, and I already loved you. And like that's like the first.
So the first words out of a
the
bitch's
first thing
mouth.
you say
Oh
to
my
me
God.
is, "Oh, you're not white," and I'm like, "Oh."
You fucking bitch.
like zoom in on this anime cartoon character where like the backdrop goes black and like they get a little thundercloud above their damn head with little raindrops
With
and
like
then
angry
lightning.
eyebrows.
Yeah, and the two eyebrows come together as one and get all like
This bitch
squiggly
just
and
say,
angry.
"You're not
together.
white."
Yep.
But you did a lot of hateful things to young queens, like Jersey Cities when you said,
No.
Wait, I never did anything mean to Jersey City.
Well, she was so afraid of you because I just remember the story of you clocking her about not wearing lashes. And then one day in Embers, everyone's chit-chatting in the front bar, and you come out and says, Jersey Cities, I'll see you now. And she was all, oh no. Shit. It was like going to the fucking principal's office.
So many of your stories I'd actually heard from Jersey Cities, and she had specifically told me about how you had clocked her for not wearing lashes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're doing drag. You have to wear lashes.
She's like, but I sweat.
I fully agree with that,
law.
too. I fully agree with that, too. On the rare occasion where I would forgive you for not wearing lashes is if all of your lashes, like, combustedly, like...
turned into spiders and ran away.
Turned into spiders and ran away, or roaches, or tarantulas.
Yeah.
Or if they, like, you know, just grew flames.
Yeah.
And,
no,
like,
but then you call and cancel the gig.
No, you can do a smoky eye.
Nope.
No,
you
and
then
there's not enough smoke.
There's
not enough smoke to cover the fact that you don't have lashes.
Unless there's smoke.
Unless you're wearing
bitch.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
If you're doing a number with sunglasses,
Love that.
perfect.
You just get some construction paper and you cut little fringes.
I've
and
seen people
that's
do
what
that.
they do now.
That's what I'm
I can't do that. I
would
sweat.
never.
I sweat. And like construction paper lashes. Really, honey?
I hate it. No.
Like, unless you're laminating that shit, that is not going anywhere near my damn eyes. Because then it'll just end up looking like droopy whoopy.
Oh, God.
Going down my whole damn eye.
Stunning.
So, when I was younger and was like just a sweat machine, I would put on nice, fresh lashes at the beginning of the evening, but after sweating like a whore in church, by the end of the evening, they literally were like drooping over my eyes. I looked like a snuffleupagus.
Well, I love that Jersey. Her excuse was, "Well, I sweat." I'm like, bitch, who doesn't up
here's
there?
Here's the thing, though. She did sweat a lot. Like, even more than I did. Whatever.
Yeah, but, bitch, do you have a problem?
And, like, she was actually the first queen to, like, ever give me an actual drag face.
Oh.
And, like, I felt stunning. Mm-hmm. Like, you could not come from...
Because the girl can paint a face.
Yeah. She's the one who initially taught me to paint. And, like, the blending, the color concepts, like, most of what I learned from, like, my original starting, like, in, like, drag makeup, I learned from her.
Crazy.
Like, putting on my first pair of hip pads, like, she was in the Ember's hostess dressing room, shifting them up and down, like, my hips with me, and, like, helping me figure it out.
Crazy.
Yeah, so, like, her and I have a lot of history, like, going back to, and she's told me the horror stories of...
Did she tell you about me being mean to her? When I was hosting, I hosted one night for Crystal after I had retired from the show. And Jersey was there, and I like Jersey. I think she's a great kid. I mean, she's not a kid, but...
Great old bitch.
At the time.
At the time.
Great hack.
But
love her.
She is one of those girls that her weight goes up and down depending on her consumption of drugs.
Yeah.
Just to be fair. And she was thicker on this occasion, and I shouldn't have said it out loud, but I was like, oh, obviously you're not on the drugs, because look how good you look. You're fat now. You look so good. No. But I did say, I said, you're fat now. You look fantastic. Because when she's thinner, I don't think she looks as good.
Yeah.
Well, she needs a little plumpness.
And penned a suicide note.
She did,
fuck
Patty
O'Dora.
was a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
She called me fat.
And the rest of Portland was all,
Yeah. Nobody was surprised. They're like,
what? Oh, Patty O'Dora is a bitch. Shocking.
I know. Nobody was shocked.
Revelation. Ooh.
Oh my God, the first time I was put in drag was by you and or Chloe Stone. Pick one.
Right? When you were, what, 5?
5, maybe? Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Go into the Rage before it was Escape. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Wait, what was it called?
The Rage.
The Rage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because wasn't that just for a hot minute that it was the Rage?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was again 5 years old. I was 5 years old. And you took me to the Rage with Grandma. And I was remembering, like, there were so many queer people in this room. And I'm so shy. And then, of course, you had to, like, say that I was there. And immediately I melted.
I know.
And
you,
my pants and
crawled underneath.
Cried a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crawled under a chair. And
you were trying to be like, oh, look. And I was like, fuck you. Don't talk to me. I'm embarrassed. All these queers are looking at me.
Right. Mm-hmm. That was so funny. So I don't even remember how old I was, but I was, I think I was right around 40 the last time I performed at the Underage Club, and this little boy comes up to me, and you know I'm an idiot when it comes to people hitting on me. I never know, unless you're real super obvious. And this little boy comes up to me and is hitting on me, and I said, little boy, how old are you? And he's like, 14. I was like, I said, I'm probably older than your mother. So can we just not? Because it's also a crime. So no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, I'm real flattered. Now get the fuck away from me.
Right?
I don't even think I should be seen talking to you.
No.
Because that's bad.
Yeah, weird.
Like, I don't
that.
think anyone ever hit on me when I was going to the kitty club. But, like, at a certain point, like, when my drag family had gone to, like, a certain, I guess, size, everybody at the kitty club just started calling me Mama or Mama V.
Yeah.
Like, I was known as the kitty club Mama. And I would always bum cigarettes to whoever needed one, but after I carded them.
Oh, look
like,
at you being
I was that
responsible.
kind of a mom. I was that kind of a mom. Like, I would always card you if you looked questionable to me. And if your ID said that you were not 18 or older, or if you did not have ID, I didn't bum you one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh, she's changing the world.
So-
Walking children in nature,
Right?
bitch.
I was walking children in nature,
honey.
or back
Thank you,
then,
Tammy Brown.
or back then, I was walking around the kitty club parking lot corner to
Smoking with them.
to catch my children, drinking their Four Locos
Oh, my God.
out of the trunks of
As
their
they all
friends'
fell into
cars.
cardiac arrest.
What is
Oh,
the
God.
What is that?
Ew,
Is that an
it's-
energy drink?
No, it's
Oh,
alcohol
no.
energy drink. Is there energy in it?
Honestly, I've never had a Four Loko before.
Me either.
I've
Like,
never heard of it.
I've never been. I've never been to the kitty club in drag drunk. Ever.
Praise.
Well, that's
Either. I'm one of those rare people.
Girl, a Four Loko is like an alcoholic sweet beverage that they banned for a long time because people were
Yeah.
dying because it's too much.
good. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I want a whole.
It was the
You need
size
that.
of a fifth.
Okay.
Or
But
what do
it-
they call them? Those big beers.
Like
Like
a
a
tall
40?
boy.
Yeah, it was
A
like the
tall
size of
boy.
a tall boy.
Okay.
But it was like a mixture of beer and energy drink.
Oh.
And they were
ugh.
stronger than an average beer.
Gross.
And an average energy drink.
So people were drinking them thinking, this is juice.
And
and drinking
like
too
these
many.
teenagers were drinking them down at the kitty club, and
Oh,
like
God.
every once in a while, I'd catch one of my kiddos like around the corner drinking that with like their friends, and I'd be like, "Fuck, y'all really are that stupid." Sorry, Mama. Just lay in the back of this stranger's car and sleep it off, and no performing tonight.
No.
Wow, you were a tough mom.
I was.
No, I'll slap the drunk out, you bitch. It reminds me of like a Long Island in a sense where like you just taste like yummy sweet tea and then you have one or four and then you're vomiting across the bar. That was my 21st birthday. So that's what it reminds me of. It just tastes like sweet yummy and then you drink too many and then you're
gross.
dead.
Okay.
And then your husband is embalming you and that's
Yeah.
how that
Oh,
goes.
God.
That's
Let's
and
not- let's
no one will be doing your hair.
No.
Oh my God.
No. I'm going to be cremated anyway, so
Me too.
Right.
12 hairs on my head will just go up and fly into it.
I'm going to use your ashes as some flour and turn you into some bread, and then you will
Oh
be the
my
body and
gosh.
blood of Christ, bitch.
Oh.
If I'm not on keto at the time, like I'll have some.
You're going to have some anyway. We're going to eat her.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I have to look it up on my keto app to see if it's friendly.
Can I eat
I'm on
ashes of a
this
human?
journey. I can't eat you if I'm on keto.
No, girl, I want to...
Well,
I love that is the only
the
thing that's
reason.
keeping
Well,
you fried.
I can eat your flesh, but I can't eat
Right,
you
if I'm
if you're
turned into a loaf of bread.
if you're cremated and turned to bread.
Ugh.
I can't have bread.
Well, just...
Is that in the keto book?
yeah.
Don't eat people if they've been turned.
Oh well, not specifically, but
So-
it says
oh
you
my
cannot
God.
eat bread, and if
So-
Anakin makes you into bread, I
Yeah.
can't.
No,
eat
no,
it.
I get
Then
it.
maybe you can't take the Eucharist. You can't take the body and blood of Christ.
I cannot. Not if I'm on keto.
This
Sinner.
woman.
Sinner. Sinner.
Call the church. Let them know.
She refused the body.
So here's my question to you: how many drag children do you have?
Don't. Oh,
Oh,
no.
don't.
Gosh. Why? Stop.
Well, and are you? I mean, I feel like I know this that you're the mother of the Valentine clan,
Yeah.
and
We can call it a clan, a herd,
a herd. You know,
Band.
a band.
Well,
they don't
because
play
I
any
mean, obviously,
instruments.
I know some of your children,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know because, like, with my drag lineage, I had a shit ton of children who a bunch of them stopped doing, any kind of performances and moved
same.
away and became quote unquote normal people.
Yeah.
And I know normal. Who wants that?
Oh.
So, like I said, I know a handful.
Yeah.
So how many do you have on average, do you think?
Children, if you count all of the children, even the ones that have dropped out of the scene,
Sure.
even the ones who have moved across the country and became a Disney character at Disney World, odd.
Yeah.
I'd say like 18. Wow. Children.
You whore.
18
children.
She's fertile, honey.
Yeah.
Fertile Myrtle. She
Yeah.
18 children.
I have about 18 children, but that's
Okay.
just direct children to me.
And then
Right.
they all have drag children. So
Not
you're like
all of them.
Okay, but
only,
you're like a
only
grandma.
some of them are allowed to give the name, and that's still through my permission.
I love it.
However, right now it's not really my permission. It's more Dee's permission, Tia or
Yeah.
Deandrica, whichever name she wants to go by at the time. But
Right.
D.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So what is your drag relation with her? Are you her drag mother?
sisters.
Sisters. Okay.
Yeah.
So who's your drag mother?
It depends on how you look at it, to be honest. Like, if you go,
Okay.
like, with the old school, like houses type of
Yeah.
thing, I would say Jersey Cities.
Okay.
Because she was the first one to
Put you in
put
drag.
me in
Like,
drag.
yeah.
Well, neck up, anyways. Realistically, it's Krista Hopkins.
Oh, okay.
She was the first one to actually give me the name Cities when I was Valentine, because Valentine is my name. But she gave me Cities one night at the Kitty Club, and it was through permission also of Jersey.
Right.
Like, she had to get Jersey's permission to give me Cities. So technically, if you think about it, Jersey's my grandmother.
Crazy.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
what is your full drag name then? Is it like hyphenated 20 last names or just 2?
Well, I've always just really gone with like Vivica Valentine.
Right.
If I've competed in a pageant or something in the past, it was Vivica City's Valentine.
Okay.
Back when I ran for Miss Gay Pride the second time, I was the Frustrations as well.
Oh my god.
And I was Vivica City's Frustrations Valentine.
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of names.
It is a lot of names to me. But like, I know people who have like a bit more last names than I do drag children.
Yes, I know, because let me tell you what, when I was Empress and traveling the circuit, as I'm sure you had the same thing, you'd be sitting there going, oh my god, this person, because as they're introducing people for their court, first of all, the title they would have, like before Empress, like the diamond encrusted, ruby eyed, flying hawk,
Sapphire,
painted ass,
Sapphire,
whatever. Yeah.
Soul of
It's like, shut
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Miss-
all those.
Miss, fire crotch,
Yeah,
whatever. And
That'd
it's
be
like,
a
but
good
then they have
too.
20 last names, and it's
Yep.
like, oh my god.
Like, you go out for a damn cigarette and you're smoking the 99s, and by the time you come back in, they're only halfway through their court, and their court only has like 10 people walking.
Uh-huh.
But they all have 50 names.
And a 99
Yeah.
takes you about an hour to smoke it.
Yes!
Yeah, girl.
I know, that's crazy. So I know, I have always just been, my stage name has always just been Patty O'Dora, which doesn't even come from my drag mother.
Yeah.
Because, well, she was kind of, anyway.
She was
but it came from Dora Jar, because she wanted to name, when my drag father did drag for like this fun little event, he did Tough Drag.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Is it still called Tough Drag? Or is it just Bearded Drag?
Like bearded drag?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you should use this name. And he was like, no thanks. And so when I started doing it, he's like, you should use this name. And I was like, oh, I don't like it. But I used it anyway and it stuck. But most of my children do not have my name.
Odora.
Okay.
No.
There's from the house of Odora.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're not an Odora.
But they are not.
No.
Like Tiara Desmond was one of my children.
Uh-huh.
Tiara.
Chloe Stone is one of my
Jesus
children.
Christ. You're old.
I know all my children are problematic.
Maria?
Some of them are dead.
Yeah. Maria.
Yeah,
Maria.
true,
Maria's my first one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was a very young mother.
You were.
I was too. Like, I remember the Emperor's Queens, when they found out how many kids I'd had, like, I got the word green a lot, which I didn't know what they meant at the time, but
I meant you were
You know,
new and
new.
unseasoned.
new.
Yeah.
Like, very new.
Yeah, she raw chicken.
And like it always like broke my heart a little bit.
How
But like
dare
looking
you.
back at my old pictures, it completely made sense.
What do you mean?
See,
What
now,
do you mean?
when I
I'm
met
using
you-
the stunning makeup that I just got
At Goodwill from an
at
old lady.
Goodwill from a dead old woman.
It's half empty.
Well,
And-
by the time I met you,
Gross.
you were stunning and flawless.
Thank you.
And
And Caucasian.
your beat was and Caucasian.
And she was
and
so
your beat
European, it
gorgeous.
was not
I
even
know.
funny.
But I have seen some of those pictures because you like to post those occasionally, and it's like, ooh, yeah.
It makes me humble.
Yeah,
it keeps me
agreed.
humble.
Which is why I love my old pictures,
Yeah.
where I look like a goofy ass mess because I'm all.
Yeah.
This is where I started.
I think sometimes you look like a different person because you're brown. You're wearing like black wigs with like fucking black eyebrows. I'm like, who is
loved
that?
that. After her experience show, I looked you up on YouTube.
Oh.
And like, I was gonna make this big old post and share that music video.
Yeah. The one where
I
she's
just
a
did it
prostitute.
because I love you to a certain extent where I couldn't do that.
Which music video we're gonna post?
Where she's a prostitute?
Both, but the one where she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
Because specifically, no freaking joke. The outfit you're wearing in that music video, I think I ended up owning for a while.
I love that.
I do love hand-me-down drag clothes.
Yeah, like it was maybe my first or second year doing drag at the Embers. I just remember like a bunch of like garbage bags getting like donated to the Embers dressing room with like clothes from like the I remember Chastity Frustrations had donated a crap ton. I believe you did. I could be wrong.
No,
a couple different other queens, had donated their stuff, and I found this delicious, beautiful black little like blazer shirt with this animal print like collar and like accent little animal print thing pocket, but I don't think it was even a real pocket. It was just like a little flap.
It's supposed to look like
and there were these like animal print like little cut things on the sleeves, and I remember seeing it and loving it, and it was one of my go-to outfits.
It also came with an animal print miniskirt.
Fuck the miniskirt. I never got that.
Well, the
I never got
miniskirt
it.
was the amazing, magical, disappearing miniskirt because I would walk in and disappear. It would be like...
It's a bandeau bra. It's a belt.
I saw that in the music video, too, and
Pretty
I
soon
loved
it's like,
it.
oh, the skirt's gone, and now
It's a turban.
No joke. I watched that music video like 2 or 3 times in a row.
Is it not
when
terrible?
I found it? Terribly good.
I love it.
It was terribly good.
I'm sorry, but
like,
it is bad, but it's so bad that it's wonderful.
When I saw you wearing it though in that music video, I was like, that is my shirt. I always wore it as a dress.
Yeah.
If you add a stretch belt to it, to the high waist, it becomes a dress automatically.
Sure.
You're talking to the right people, bitch. I wear shirts as dresses regularly.
You think Patty like dressed like a whore with a skirt to it? I never wore a skirt.
What's a skirt?
Like I just wore like my black
No,
panties.
you mean this belt?
The first time I wore it on stage at Darcel's was, and I think I told this story at my show, but it's like at the end of my song, turned to look at the wall of pictures, which when the light is on you is basically a wall of mirrors, and I was like, oh Jesus, I have no skirt. My skirt is gone. I was like, well, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Well, then years later, you used to wear vinyl that you just like rip open, like the nurse's outfit or whatever.
Once I became more kind of comfortable with my body, I was like, who cares?
Like
people are gonna see
body.
it. It really was. It was such a journey for me being a fat girl because I've always been fat. I've been less fat. I've been more fat, but I've always been fat. And I think that was one of the things that because one of the topics we were going to talk about today was discrimination within the queer community.
True.
And I know for me, as a fat girl, as a fat queen, the very first things I was told is that when I started performing is like, well, you have to do comedy. Because fat girls have to be funny because they're not glamorous.
Because they're not pretty.
You're never going to be pretty enough.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And so for me, being told, if you're not funny, what are you? It's like, fuck that. I'm going to sell sex on stage. I'm going to be the fat girl who people are like, damn. And it's all going to be right here in the face and the tits, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, immediately, and I was talking to Cassie, who's one of the entertainers at Darcel's, who's also a big girl, and she was told the same thing by Darcel. It's like, if you're going to be a performer here, you have to be funny. You have to do this comedy shit, and I'm like...
That antiquated
I'm
ideal.
right. It's like, fat girls have to be funny.
I know plenty of fat people who are not funny.
I do too.
Me
I
too.
do too. So now when you started, because it was a little later, did you run into the same kind of discrimination?
Actually, I was held back from even starting it for a little while because I would start talking to my friends who I would go down to the clubs with for, again, 2 years straight, every Friday and Saturday, to the clubs. And we became friends with some of the queens there as well because we were just regulars. anytime that I would share the idea of me wanting to start doing drag, the queens there would always shut me down. Like, I won't give any names because, honestly, it don't matter.
Right,
half
no.
of them now are dead, and the other half don't do drag no more. But I'd always be told that I can't really do drag because I was short and fat, and that you had to be taller and slender in order
That's
to do
such
appropriate
bullshit.
drag. Isn't it?
I mean,
I believed them, though.
is it easier
at the
to
time.
find clothing that fits? Yes.
Yeah.
But why should that keep you from doing it?
Agreed. But I was naive at the time, and I believed them.
Now, I'm assuming because I know what size that leopard coat was. It's much smaller than I can wear now.
Oh,
They
same.
were smaller at the time.
Uh-huh.
You know, so even then, people were like, girl, you too fat.
Uh-huh, even then. But then one specific weekend at the Kitty Club, they had a Latina night. And I was super excited because I'm Latina, I'm Hispanic.
Right.
I love Latin music as well. And all these queens are doing these, like, Latina numbers. They're doing their Selenas.
Yeah, sure.
And their Shakiras and their Paulina Rubios and their, Gloria Estefans and all this other shit, right? But then they saved the best queen for last, who apparently was like the leader of the Mexicans. And she goes by the name Kelly Johanna.
Oh, yes, I know who she is.
Uh-huh. And she a big bitch.
She is a big bitch.
She's another one of my mothers, by
Yes.
the way. But that's a different side story. But she was essentially my deciding factor of doing drag. Because she came out and did the closing number of the show at the Kitty Club. And her number was the best one. She was like twice, thrice the size of like the previous queens.
Yeah.
And she was like doing the buckings and the
Well,
twirlings.
because I saw her for the first time at La Femme.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, that's a big girl.
Yeah.
But she did not even hesitate for a second. She let him have it.
Yeah, she didn't let her size stop her. But she was stunning. Like, she was beautiful. She essentially also taught me how to match foundation to my face.
Oh,
Yeah.
where?
Well, that's
where?
tricky.
Yeah, so like when you and I first met, she hadn't really taught me the whole foundation thing at the time. But
Well, then I feel less bad about my asshole remark. I still feel bad about it, but less bad.
it's fun memory, so.
It's a core memory for her now, okay?
Yeah.
It is a core memory.
Part of her trauma, so you're welcome.
Right, this
Right.
is part of my truth. This is my truth.
She'll never forget you now because you're a cunt. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I was discriminated.
Talking about discrimination,
Oh,
this
God.
bitch right here,
Right.
called the Latina Caucasian.
So now when I first started performing, the other thing too was the boys didn't... I mean, it's like if you were a drag queen, good luck getting a date.
Yep.
Because the boys want... I mean, obviously...
That was also true, like, when I was doing drag.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, because it's like, no. You're fun to look at, laugh at, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're some little, twink, they want to laugh at the queens and whatever. It's like, bitch, we started the revolution.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the cute little white boy twinks who started the revolution. It was the trans girls and the lesbians
dykes.
and the and brown
Yep.
trans girls and whatever. It was not some little white boy.
No.
like,
It was
they
pretty
wanted to
much
show-
all of the queers, but the twinky little white boys.
Uh-huh.
Well, because they didn't want to mess up their face.
They face.
It's like bricks were being
That
thrown. It's like, oh no,
1969
girl.
mug.
Oh no, girl.
Stunning. It was so stunning.
Like, I've seen enough of the Stonewall documentaries and Pride documentaries. Like, that's very true, though. Like, when the Stonewall, like, riots started, all the skinny, twinky little white gay boys...
It's like, I gotta go to church.
Yeah, they're like, I gotta go.
What are these faggots doing here?
Right? Like, someone threw a brick. What? I saw
know.
nothing.
I'm leaving.
Bye.
Right.
Yeah, like
I was at church the whole time.
Yeah, like the ones who like stayed and fought were the trans women of color, the non-binaries, which back then non-binary wasn't a thing.
Right.
Well,
right.
it
You're
was a
wondering-
thing, but it wasn't.
It's that you're
it
either
wasn't
one or the
named.
other.
Yeah, it wasn't named.
Yeah.
It didn't have a
Oh
name.
yeah, because we didn't give language thought shit. We just said you're one or the other, right? You can't
Yeah.
be both or neither. You'd be one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But it was pretty much the trans colored folk, the drag queens, and the dykes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. And so in my own personal history, when I've had people saying to me, well, drag queens shouldn't even be a thing anymore because they're disrespectful to women. And it's like, bitch, learn your history.
Shut the
You
fuck
know,
up.
and this was a queer woman who said this to me, and I'm all, no, learn your history. Are there queens who are disrespectful to women? Of course there are.
Sure.
Are there gay men who are disrespectful to women? Of course there are. But there are women who are disrespectful to women, so don't even start. It's like there's always going to be a factor that you're not going to like. But that doesn't make it, like, so all drag queens shouldn't exist.
Right. Well, and
Because,
now...
first of all, drag is art.
Yeah. Well, and now...
art is supposed to be controversial. Art is supposed to make you think. Art is supposed to challenge you and make you feel things.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, drag in many different forms. Maybe not called drag has been in how many cultures, right? Throughout the world and history. Like, that is such a commonality of men dressing in women's clothing.
Yes.
That it isn't like some new fad that started this last century. You know?
No.
Right? It's so funny to me.
Well, and with the popularity of Drag Race, well, right now, there's Drag Race Mexico, Drag Race France, Drag Race Germany is about to start, Drag Race Australia, Drag Race Thailand,
Canada,
Philippines, Canada. It's all over the world. So this is not, some new thing. It's not some fad that's going away.
No.
In fact, it's just building and building. You know?
Well, and like the amount of people who actually like support queer rights is like astronomical. And that's why all this divisive like political bullshit is just scare tactics, right?
Yeah.
Because the amount of people in the United States who support queer people and trans people and drag queens is more than half, which is like in history is uncommon, right?
Yeah.
But so it's crazy to me. Sidebar about talking about Stonewall. Gavin, who is my partner, who's a tall Irishman, white man, who had never been to a drag show until... What a dreamboat.
Such a
I
cute
know.
patootie.
I know, it's so funny. He told me that you looked him up and down and said, you are cute.
Well, I'm not going to look at you and tell you that you're cute if I don't think you're cute.
Well, and here's the thing.
I don't believe in lying.
Because he brought that up, but then there was other boy, Rolander, whoever, at the show who was like hitting on him and whatever, and I said, good luck. But he didn't know about Stonewall. Gavin had no idea what Stonewall was, and I said, how are you my age and you have no idea what Stonewall is? But I mean, his dad's a Catholic deacon. He's a white boy who went to like private school, so he doesn't know.
I can understand that.
But I was also raised very heavily Catholic and sheltered, middle child of 5.
But you knew.
Like realistically, by grand design, I shouldn't know what Stonewall is either.
Or what drag is.
But I'm a Gemini. I'm very curious, and I'm a queer mo.
So wait a minute. Hang on.
So I did my own
queer?
research, and I was taught by my older generations.
Yeah. So I believe I remember you telling me that you lived part of your childhood in Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay. So back and forth, culturally, how was that for you as a fat queer in Mexico?
Scary. Like super scary. Like before, when I was living in Mexico, so I was born in Aberdeen.
Right.
When I was 4, we moved to Mexico.
So you weren't quite knowing you were queer yet, probably at 4.
I just knew I was a little different.
Right.
But I didn't think much into it. I was 4. I actually started my...
So, as you can probably guess, we were interrupted because my mother...
Shocking.
Like she always does when we're
Oh,
talking.
bless her
But
heart.
you
I
were
love her,
talking
though.
about... I know, I love her too. She's crazy as hell, but I love her. So you were talking about living in Mexico. You went there when you were 4.
Yes. So...
and you were just saying when we were off the air that you were in the most kind of southern part of Mexico.
Yes. La Mira Michoacan. Hop, skip, and jump from Brazil. If people are interested enough, they'll Google it. But,
sure, they'll Google it. Nobody can spell that.
They'll Google it. La Mira Michoacan.
Yeah, obviously, bitch.
La Mira is the town. Definitely not a city. Michoacan is the state. Google will auto-populate it, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. But, no, I was born here. We moved there when I was 4. Then moved back when I was 9. And then moved back to Mexico again when I was about 12 and a half.
So I'd imagine by 12 you already were you knew you were gay.
Oh, yeah. I knew I was gay. I knew I was queer.
Okay.
I thought I might have been bi. I wasn't sure if I was gay.
Sure, that's what everyone says before they're like, just kidding, I'm gay.
Right? I was a big old fag.
But you knew you liked the boys.
I knew I liked the boys. But I wasn't sure how to come out with it because
Right.
that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Not during that time of
Well,
my
and also
childhood,
imagine being Catholic.
and not in a third world country where
Oh,
the majority of the population, like 87% of the population, is Catholic and practicing Catholic.
Oh,
The idea of like coming out wasn't even like anywhere close to like the top of my list of goals.
Sure.
While I was living down there, but I remember one day my mom had sent me down to the market while we were living down there. I wasn't out. I didn't think I was acting gay or flamboyant or whatever, but I remember when I walked back from the market, this group of boys started like following me from the other side of the street, and they were and then they started like blowing me like kisses.
Oh, boy.
Like, you know, like that taunting
Oh, I
way.
know.
And while calling me slurs.
Yeah.
Which I won't tell people,
Okay.
you know, what kind of fun
But we can
Mexican gay
imagine.
slurs there
Sure.
are to say. But
You have Google. If you want to know, look it up.
look it up on Google. If you don't know what a
Goggle.
puñal is, that's your fault. But they would start like following me and like blowing me kisses and like asking me to like, hey, come over, come over, let's talk, let's hang out. And they were carrying machetes.
Oh.
And here I am, third world country at the time. Like, if you can afford a gun, like you don't need to be killing people. Like, you got people that can kill for you. But
I love
Carry a machete.
it was machetes, but they were carrying machetes at the time, and then they started getting more verbally aggressive, and I'm just lucky that they never crossed the street over to me because I don't know what I would have done, but at some point,
Brujeria. She would have called down the ancestors, bitch.
Right. It's something.
Yeah.
with my brujeria, santeria, fucking like black
All of it.
magic, all of
Bring
that
them all.
shit.
Bring them all.
Like, bring me the chicken bones, honey.
Uh-huh.
But well, I didn't know how to do that at the time.
It's in
If
your
I could
blood,
only
of
go
course
back.
you know.
If I could only, in moments of high anxiety and pressure, you can do some shit.
Hell yeah.
But no, at some point I remember I started like speed walking like ahead of them, and then I remember like looking back and they were no longer there, and then I just never saw them again. But
Thank
like
God.
I was always scared from that point on because it was a small town, and I just knew in the back of my mind if they could tell that I was queer or gay, other people are going to know too.
Right.
So
Well, and like
Yeah.
that, you know, even though Mexico and different social, political kind of stance in America, but growing up in a small town is growing up in a small town, bitch.
Yeah.
Because we both grew up in
Yeah.
a town of like 1,000 people, maybe, and I mean,
Very redneck.
you were easily identified as the other. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so, I mean, I felt every day felt unsafe, right? Just because when you stand out that much, it's not really hard to be the target, you know? So,
Yeah.
being
Now,
targeted-
no one ever came after me with a machete.
No.
I did have a guy try to run me over with his truck, though.
That's so cute.
oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, he literally drove up onto the sidewalk to try and run me down.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not so nice.
No, I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, what? How am I bothering you just by existing?
Right?
Oh, girl.
You know.
Abomination.
Like, in the part of Mexico where I lived, not many people owned their own vehicles, but a lot more of them had a donkey. But still,
a
like,
burro.
no one ever tried running me over with their horse or donkey.
Bastard.
Can you imagine that?
Get that bitch. Yeah. I love that.
Well, and, you know, it's like, I know that we've kind of addressed our topic a little bit, but it was like one of the things we were going to talk about was the discrimination that you face within the queer community from other queers by being brown, by being fat, by being older,
By being a drag queen.
by being a drag queen.
trans, girl.
Because so when I was when the show originally was on Queer as Folk, when it was first on,
Yeah.
I remember watching it and being horrified because they were talking about how if you were over 30 you might as well be dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, because nobody wants you, you're going to live your life unless you're already, you know, married off and moved to Palm Springs, then you're going to live the rest of your life alone because nobody wants you. Because I was like, holy God, is that really?
I actually believed that for a while.
But do you want to know something that I learned that's really interesting? And you might have more understanding of this because you grew up you lived during the AIDS pandemic. Is that a lot of time, you know, prior to AIDS being a thing and HIV being a thing, there were there was more diversity within the queer community.
Yes.
But once AIDS and HIV started and was, mostly within the queer community, to show that you weren't sick meant that you were fit. So people, you weren't sick, you were fit. So then everyone else, if you were too thin or too fat or too whatever, you were othered, right? Even further. Oh. So like the way to show that you're healthy was to have a fit, healthy body. And we're living with that today. We're living with like the repercussions of that, where to be accepted and, valued as a queer man or woman, you need to be fit. Predominantly queer men. But it's crazy to me that is carried over. And it makes sense, right?
Well, and I know from like looking at old like stuff. I just watched a documentary recently that was about specifically cross-dressers in the like 60s and 50s and stuff. But it was also when you would show pictures of the inside of a gay bar, which of course was everyone being very secretive and whatever and risking being arrested. Yeah. It was a range of people. There was a lot of older people in those bars. It wasn't just young, fresh little twinks. It was like older men and whatever. And that really isn't the case much anymore. It is young, and it's also mostly men. All the lesbian bars are gone. There's like a few across the country. It's so crazy to me because when I first started going out, there was I think 3 here. Yeah, and now there's none.
Like I remember, it was the E room, the Egyptian room.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, like I remember the E room.
That was the last one.
Yeah, that was the last one, and the only lesbian queer bar that I ever not interacted with, but like actually like went to. Like they hated Jess, but when I went through as Vivica, I was like a celebrity. I loved it.
Well, when I went to San Francisco as Empress, I went to like little bar hopping downtown because a lot of the bars are in the same little area. Yeah, and in full on drag, every bar I went into, they loved me. They were like, "Oh yeah," treated me like a celebrity. It was fantastic. But when I went out of drag, I was invisible. Mm-hmm. It was weird. Yeah, because I was used to being here and used to going to like the 2 or 3 bars and people knew me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure to the other people in the bar who didn't know me, I was invisible, but I always knew people. Mm-hmm. So it's just such a weird thing. Being not what the crowd wants or expects, you just become invisible. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're already in such an othered group. Why on earth are we othering each other inside that group? Yeah. It's crazy to me.
Well, I don't think that, like, in my personal opinion, I don't think a lot of people talk about the queer community should be split between sexuality and gender, right? Like, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, asexual, all that. But, like, I feel like that shouldn't be the case. I feel like we're just, again, it's more divisive and it's splitting it further. My issue is predominantly with white, gay, and lesbian people. Those are the ones, and, like, in general, white people are always worse to me because that's what I grew up around as white people. Yes. So I've always been more hesitant around white people in general. But then being a queer person in a queer community, and that's why I never felt like I needed the queer. We've talked about this. Yes. To me, you were like the godmother of like the queer community, so I didn't need to go and be a part of it. But every time I felt like, wow, these people are horrible, right? Like you want people to accept you. You want people to care and to enter this space where they're also marginalized people and they don't give a shit. So at this point, I feel like a lot of white, gay, and lesbian people are just heterosexual white people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's gotten to the point of acceptability enough. Granted, being gay is still othered, but not compared to being non-binary, not compared to being trans, or a black or brown gay or lesbian person. That is still othered compared to whiteness.
You mentioned that you had to be fit in so that people would know you weren't sick. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing that, because I've heard younger people talking about how there's so few black and brown people like in the court system and whatever. It's like
there's reasons behind it,
but there used to be. There used to be, and then because a big portion of the black and people of color communities were wiped out by AIDS because so many people in the queer community, so many young people didn't even have medical health insurance, and nobody fucking knew what was happening anyway. Yeah. So people were dying right and left. But as things kind of progressed, you had to have money, and and a lot of people didn't. And so because I was talking with someone recently about the people who used to be a part of the court system who all passed from AIDS. And I can list off so many people, and almost all of them were queens of color.
Crazy.
You know, and it's like, not that it's still not completely, you know, stilted, because it is. Because if you look at our history as a court, you know, and the Rose Court, for those of you who don't know, is just, it's the oldest queer charitable organization in the state of Oregon. But yeah, you look at the title holders, most of them are white. So there's not been a huge, you know, like...
Isn't Portland second after San Francisco?
Yeah, well, technically, yes.
Yes.
But we started our, what we call our court, actually before they did.
Oh, wow.
But we weren't official.
Right.
So,
okay. So it was San Francisco, then Portland. But
right.
Portland first.
Ooh, and we've had some go-rounds with the folks who run the whole court system.
Yeah.
Like
What's
Nicole the
funny-
Grape?
Yeah.
Nicole the Grape?
Nicole the Grape.
Yeah. Talk about
What's
overdoing
funny
it.
to me, what's funny to me is that people who run this, I mean, I get the charitable part is wonderful and is real, but it's like you're, for the most part, playing dress up. So your crown is lovely, and you
And a
could
lot of
probably hawk it for
political
about $100,
nonsense.
maybe. What?
And sorry, I was saying, and a lot of political agenda
A lot
nonsense.
of political nonsense, because
Yeah.
I know for me, and we've talked about this, you and I.
Yeah.
It's like when I was Empress, it was like, well, you're not doing this right because you're not following the protocol. You're not doing what we think you should do.
I got that so much.
Yeah, exactly. So then I was getting that from within even that smaller community of
And that's
drag community,
discrimination
queer
within our own community.
Yes, because I was told, you know, you need to be classier. You need to be.
Yeah.
You need to put more sequins on. You need to put more. You need to be classier. It's like this
you
is
need to wear
who I
an
fucking
updo
am.
with your crown. You can't
Right.
wear a short dress with your crown. You can't make these posts on your social media. You can't use the F word on your social media.
I'm gonna say
My God.
that, and I'm talk about you specifically. When that whole thing happened, and everybody was doing, like, was it all middle finger, or were people actually saying fuck you, or
yeah,
what? I don't
it was
remember.
coined as middle fingers for charity. It wasn't my thing. I'm not the one who named it that. I didn't
Right.
have a name for it, but
But
people
you
ended
were
up
the one
naming
who
it
was
as middle
getting
fingers
grief
for charity.
because you do like to use the F word, as who doesn't?
Yeah, bitch.
It's a great
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
And I remember some people being like, she's not classy enough, she's so crass and whatever. It's like, let's be real.
That sounds like racism to me.
She's a drag queen. Drag queens are supposed to be, rock and roll and
being drag is punk in general.
right.
Full
Yeah.
stop. Yeah. It goes against
it is
the grain.
like you're basically you're throwing all the things back in the face of society, going, we don't have to follow any of your rules. So I'm sorry that you, old white queen, are mad because the young Mexican queen has her middle finger in the air or says the F word or whatever, and you're like,
And like,
not classy
how
enough.
as a queer person did you make it that far in life and you're offended by that kind of
By
language?
one appendage.
By like the middle finger or using the word fuck, bitch, you've been called worse than that and you're mad.
Yeah.
Like, calm down with your fucking church behavior. No one gives a
Well,
shit.
what's funny is one of the specific queens who I know had a big problem with it because she was very verbal on social media is somebody who was the most uptight, nasty queen. It was like, you're an awful bitch anyway.
Yeah.
So, but you have something. And when was the last time you were even involved? So,
Okay, gringa.
see, because I was all, this young bitch is out there doing it, is out there being seen, is out there rocking the world, and what are you doing? You're sitting in your little comfortable house.
Being like,
and
I'm
going,
racist.
She's a problem. Bitch,
Uh-huh.
you're a problem. Because unless
Yeah.
you want to come out and raise the money and, help the community, shut the fuck up.
Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
So yeah, the fact that people were offended by, the young brown girl with her finger in there, who cares?
And encouraging other people on social media to tag me in a middle finger photo.
How dare
I know
That was so much
I know
fun.
that my husband and I did. So
I remember you guys did. Like, I didn't know it was going to get as big as it did. To be completely
Well,
honest,
the whole idea though,
but like
is,
I had a thing to prove to these people who were making such a huge deal out of one finger in one photo randomly in the background while photobombing somebody like outside of a club.
is that where it started?
I believe I remember that's where it started. Like it was a group photo of like a group of us outside of a club. It could have been outside of Darcel's, Cece's, the Embers, whatever. It was probably outside of Embers, to be honest. And someone was like all up in arms about it. I think I was Princess at the time. I was Vanessa's Princess at the time. And people were making a big old stink about it. And,
you were Princess at the time,
yeah.
because I remember, because your Empress was a very classy broad.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's this little upstart.
We were the complete opposites, and that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
Like, she was all about the big shoulders and, you know, the gowns.
Yeah, the glamour.
Like, she rarely ever wore, like, cocktail dresses, anything short. And she wanted someone who was completely opposite from her.
And I love that.
Yeah, and we worked
And
so
she
well
got that.
together. Yeah, she got it. Like, she never, like, pulled me aside and, like, you know, had a talk with me or tried to tell me, you know, you're not really doing this right, or some people are having issues with you flipping the finger.
And?
She loved it.
Yeah.
Like, she encouraged me to do it because she knew why I was doing it. First of all, it was giving the Rose Court a much bigger magnifying glass for the community to notice them and be like, oh, the Rose Court? What's the Rose Court? Oh, this Mexican drag queen is posting middle finger pictures on her social media raising money. What? I'm going to go look for this bitch. What? She's donating her own money to charity if I tag her in a photo of me flipping the finger? Cool. And then it got so big to the point where other people were messaging me. You and T were some of those people who had reached out to me and actually like wrote me checks or gave me your own money to add to it, which I'm so thankful for. Because for the longest time, it was all my own money.
Yeah. I just don't understand why people, especially in the queer community, especially when it's like club and bar life for the most part, why you put like respectability politics on top of it. Like, why does it need, it's a fucking bar. It's a club.
First of all, let's look at that. Because bar community, bar life and whatever is, let's face it, especially queer bar, it's pretty fucking sleazy. You know, I'm sorry, you're blowing someone in the bathroom or whatever, and you're mad because her finger's in the air? Really?
Yeah. Hold on.
You know, you're on your knees in the back room with some total stranger, but, you know...
Hold on, Johnny, I'll finish blowing you in a second. I gotta go yell at Vivica.
I gotta tag Vivica in a post. I just saw her take another selfie.
It's just that idea to me is so ludicrous.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you're such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're picking up total strangers and fucking them, then how are you to morally challenge anyone?
Girl, same.
You know, and I'm not saying I didn't do that because I did that too.
Bitch, welcome.
Girl, please.
I almost said welcome to the club.
But I also, but I also was not the one going, oh, you shouldn't do that.
Oh, no.
You know, oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, don't censor me.
Then I'll say it more. When people want to try and like censor me, bitch, that's when I'm like, cunt, what'd you say, fucking cunt, bitch, whore? You know, like, then I pop off.
I'm like that too. Like,
then you pop off?
I have such a... This is going to be shocking. I have a real problem with authority. I have a real problem.
Stop it.
I know.
I'm so glad you were sitting for that.
When people try and tell me what to do, I'm all, I'll do it more now, bitch. I fucking hate you. Don't you tell me what to do.
Yeah, I didn't like you before.
And now
I really don't
now
like you.
I have a vendetta, ho.
Yeah. You know what? We have gone like way over our allotted time. Yeah.
7 minutes. My God.
I think so much time over.
But what I think, and I think you'll probably agree with me, we just have to have her back for another episode.
I wouldn't be opposed to
like,
it.
I love that.
Whenever, as many episodes as you want to come back for.
Right.
It's usually just us talking at each other, and we do that regularly. So
we do that every day.
Every day, bitch. So
see, with me, it's usually just me at home by myself.
Talking to yourself?
Talking to myself in, like, the walls.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that's no.
Like, I have no one yelling back at me, but the voices in my head.
Well, come hang out here,
bitch. It just gets boring.
Come hang out here and yell at us. I love it.
Yeah. And maybe we'll actually talk more on the topic a little more. Or a different topic.
Or we won't.
This was a fantastic episode.
I mean,
I agree.
Long story short, the queer community, in my opinion, from my own observations and experiences, is one of the most discriminatory groups of people out there.
Yep.
And we discriminate against ourselves and each other, and it's nasty.
Yeah. It's a lot of internalized shame.
A lot of it. And then we like focus it onto other people.
Well, and
which is horrible.
last little bit, I'm sorry, but people see brown people, fat people, queer people, trans people having a good time and expressing their truth, and even just gay people don't know how to handle that. Like,
Yeah.
they've lived with shame for so long that, like, people who have to live their lives out loud, they don't know how to deal.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So moral of the story,
That's the
stop
tea.
it with these torso pictures on your grinders. Show
Yeah.
us that damn mug.
Yeah, but show me your
Right.
face, busted.
Like, if you're going to suck some dick, show me that face.
Hey,
Right.
busted. They can't, though, because their abs are
They
all
can't, because they have
girl.
internalized shame, and all they have
Well,
is the abs.
Hey.
Whatever your hang-up is,
Uh-huh.
stop putting it on other people.
Hey,
Because
girl.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, if you don't like fat people, don't date fat people.
Hey.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like queer people, get out of the queer bar.
You know, that's what
if you don't like,
you don't like
whatever.
you don't like fat people, don't date fat people. But fat people doesn't mean they shouldn't exist. You don't like queer people, don't
Yeah.
date queer people. That doesn't mean they shouldn't.
But
And you
it's
exist.
don't
the
need to
same-
go up to fat people and give them a reason why you're not dating them, because as a fat person, I'll tell you, I don't give a fuck why you're
Yeah.
not dating me.
No.
I wouldn't date you anyway.
Yeah.
Full
Right.
stop.
But it's kind of like that old thing where you straight men don't want to go to the gay bar because all the men are going to hit on them. It's like,
No, they
bitch,
don't.
Trust
none of the
me.
women are hitting on you. Why would the men hit on you?
Bitch,
Right.
right. You ugly to women. You ugly to men.
You just nasty.
yeah, bitch. Wash your ass.
But
Get out
it's
of
the
here.
same thing I feel about social media. When you're looking at somebody's video, you have to stop and go, oh, I hate this.
No, you don't.
And I now need to tell you that I hate it and why
Scroll.
I hate it. No, you fucking
Yeah.
don't.
Scroll, bitch.
Scroll.
Just keep
Uh-huh.
scrolling. You got a finger.
You got a finger.
You can use it to scroll and
And flip people off.
And flip
Same
people
finger.
off. Same finger. I've done it. I
It's
flipped myself
multi-purpose.
off while going through it and just scrolling
Whoopsies.
through.
Oh,
Whoops.
no, I flipped
Or
myself off.
nor.
Whoopsie diesel.
Oh my god.
Well, on that, I think we're going to have to bring it to close. But before I do, where can people find you, like on socials?
Just
If you
my-
want to be found.
if I want to be found, well, I just have my Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Vivica Valentine.
Love.
And my Instagram is connected to it somehow.
Okay.
Like, people think I'm
Witchcraft.
active on my Instagram, but I'm really not.
Same.
Okay.
But like if I post something with a picture on my Facebook, it'll post on my Instagram as
Okay,
well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Vivica Valentine on Instagram as well, or you can just find me in Southeast off of 82nd and Main.
Oh.
Was that working the street there, or...
Well, live in the street. Well,
I
I'm
live
not,
on
I'm not living on the streets, but
82nd
that's
and
good to
Main.
know.
I live on that block, but I'm right around the corner from the Wuhan Asian market.
Oh.
And they got Thai teas and milk teas, honey. Ugh.
I'm in.
I can't have that on keto though anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
Stop.
All right.
yeah,
I
It's
gotta
horrible.
go. I can't be in the room with her
sad.
anymore.
I'm so
I
sad.
know, I know.
Freak.
It's that keto life.
All right.
Keto life.
So listen,
if you want to hang out and eat some kale, hit me up.
Oh my god.
I
Dreamy
want to
gross.
hang out, but the eating kale, no thank you.
No, it's
thanks.
fine. It's fine.
We can
You
eat
don't
jerky,
have to.
bitch. We'll eat jerky with you.
I
Done.
absolutely 100%
I will
jerky.
slam down on some jerky,
Hey.
boiled eggs, and avocados.
There you go. I'm good. I'm good. I will
Yes.
eat all of that. I will eat all of that. So if you enjoyed today's episode and you really enjoyed our special guest, then I want you to send us emails at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com and come back next week. And we're certainly going to have Vivica back for another episode because that was fun, girl.
At least one
Yay.
more, but probably more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
And maybe next time y'all will have the avocados and the
I know.
boiled
We'll
egg.
have the
Mixed
spread
with
out
your
for
boiled
you.
egg.
mixed with the boiled egg
All the things.
Come here, mija.
and the tuna salad.
Yes, bitch.
Gotta go.
I know.
All
we
right.
gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.
It would seem as though.
Where did you get this cat?
Just kidding. Bye.
All right, bye. Never mind.